So why on earth would we automate Google search through the GUI interface? I don't know, but we did. So now let's make it useful and turn it into a page rank tool. Yeah, because I'm a toolsmith and I'm going to tool it up. So welcome back into the series of Let's Automate Google Search. So what have we done so far? Well, what we've done so far is we've written a test which will do a quick search on Google via the GUI and extract the first page of results with the URL and the name of the search result. Huzzah! But we didn't really start out with a purpose, right? The purpose when we started was because people ask me, how can I automate Google search? So I've shown you how you can do this. But normally when we start automating things, we need to have a purpose. We need to have an aim in mind. We need to have a problem that we're trying to solve. That's why we do this work. So in this case, I'm going to try and get some value out of this by turning it into a PageRank tool. Right, so I'm going to do a search, and then I'm going to look through the results to find a specific URL or a domain and see where it appears in those results. That way I've got some value out of doing this. So the madness that you asked me to do, I'm going to turn it into a tool. Now it's not going to have a GUI or anything like that, it's still going to run from a test, so we're going to make this nice and simple. So if you want to find the source code for this, it's on GitHub on github.com/EvilTester/automate Google search. Okay, let me get the project up here. Here it is. Now I'm going to duplicate this and create a separate test. Just to keep everything separate so that people who are following along at home with previous videos can see the older version without having to jump back through the version control. And I will call this PageRank test. So I was tempted to turn this into page objects, but I don't need to do that yet. What I'm going to do is create some value here. It's much better for me to refactor for value than it is to refactor for ongoing maintenance, because at the moment I wouldn't maintain this because I wouldn't use this. So if I get something I can use, then I can refactor it for ongoing maintenance afterwards. So let me just rename this. Call this PageRank tool. Okay, so the way this is going to work is it's going to go up to Google, and then it's going to search for something. So let's say search term. And I'll say Selenium training. Let's see where we rank for that. And I'm going to check to see where my main website ranks. So compendiumdev.co.uk. It's where you can find all the information about my consultancy services and lists of tools and conference talks. It's my main website, and it has links off to seleniumsimplified.com, which is my Selenium website, EvilTester.com, which is my main blog. And you'll find information on my books, Java for Testers and Dear EvilTester, and the older book Selenium Simplified. And you'll find information on all my online training. So this is a good website for you to go and look at, and it's a good website for me to see how far this ranks, because this is the one that should really be ranking. So I've got a search term. What I'll do is I'll make the existing test use that search term, because I don't want to use the string search term, I want to use the string search term. So I'll only ever want to do the search once, then I will want to loop around this a number of times, hopefully never because I'll be on the first page, but I want to loop around this to see where we are in the search results. So let's add in a page number check. And as we go through, I'll be saying, have we found the page yet? We'll start with no. And I'll want to track the URL that is in the search results. So now I will essentially want to do all of this until the match is found. And I'm going to leave things like create a string inside loops because I'll probably refactor it out later on, and it makes sense to just leave it in situ because it's easier to refactor. So I'm going to say while we haven't found a match, do the stuff in here, and I'm going to have the page number start from 1, rather than 0. So rather than just output the results, what I'm going to do is I'm going to track them. So I'm going to have a string called href, which is going to be the href from the web element. I may as well get the title as well. And there's my backwards coding style where I let IntelliJ do the work by hitting Alt return to do the code completion. So we do a search. We're on a page. We say we're on page 1 to start with. I wait until the next link is present, then I get all the results. Then I loop through the results, get the href title, print them out, and then I want to check if they're what we're looking for. So if href.contains matching URL, which is the variable we set up here. I could do, if I did this differently, regular expressions, whatever else, but I'll just do a nice easy contains to start with. And then we'll say, hooray, we found a match. I may as well say on page. Let's store the match. Let's exit the loop. So that doesn't exit this for loop. Oops, let's fix that. It exits this while loop. Now in theory, I should probably say if we haven't found it in the first 10, we don't care, because otherwise this will just keep going for as long as Google will serve as results. And instead of a wait here, let's actually have a output report. So string.format. Oops. There's the page number, and here is the URL. Then, because we found the match, we close the browser window and quit. Let's try that. In fact, let's just run it, see what happens. Done the search, found the results, and something went wrong. Now, I don't know if you spotted that there, but when we did the search, all the results went grey for a while. And so what is this saying? This is saying when we try and click on the next, it's saying element is not clickable at the point another element called flyer would receive the click. So let me see if I can find that element. Control F in the dev tools, and it's a div with an ID of flyer. And there it is. And that is quite wide and long, probably the width and height of the page. So I'd say that when it's doing the search, it puts up this div to prevent us clicking on something and wait for the page to populate. So I need to trap this. Now, let's do this a hacky way. So this is basically saying before we click on it, now if I was testing this page, I want to make sure that the flyer appeared and then disappeared. I'm not testing it, I'm using this page. We're writing tool based on this automation. So I'm not going to test for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this in a try catch block. Because I essentially don't want this part to fail. So I'm going to ignore any exceptions. And what we're going to do is I'm going to have the, let's have flyer I'm going to wait until expected conditions, the element to be there. So we know that if I try and click on next link when it's there, something else will get it. So in theory, this flyer is clickable. So I'm going to wait for this flyer to be clickable. And let's have string flyer CSS selector equal div with an ID of flyer. Now I'm taking a lot on trust here because we haven't seen the flyer div, but we've seen it in the code and we've seen Selenium tell me about it. So I'm just going to assume that that thing is there. So IntelliJ fix the code and wait for the web elements. This is basically saying, get to the page before we, in fact, it's not, yeah, so before we click on the next link, wait until the flyer is clickable. So it will wait 10 seconds. If the flyer isn't there, it will wait 10 seconds and then it will throw an exception, which we will ignore. And if it's not there, that's fine because we're going to click on the exception. If it is there, then we'll wait for it to be clickable and then we'll wait for it to go away. So invisibility of element located by CSS selector, flyer CSS selector. Now in theory, I don't even need to trap this, right? But I'm gonna. So in fact, since in theory I don't need to, I'm not going to. So I'm basically just going to say, wait until this is clickable. If it's not there, it will time after 10 seconds to an exception. If it is there, it will find it. Then it will wait for it to go away. If it doesn't go away, then it will throw an exception. Then we will try and click on it. The click will fail, so that's okay because that's a valid problem. And if it does go away, then it will just carry on and click the next link. So let me try this. Let's see what happens. So watch carefully and see if we can see the flyer appear. Search, click next. Oh, so it's waiting for the flyer. The flyer hasn't appeared. So it's waiting 10 seconds. Oh, there's the flyer. What happened this time? Stale element exception. Element is not attached to the page, and that is the course not. The next link, because we get up here, then chances are we're doing in the middle of a refresh. This might well be an old one. We try and click on it. So let's refresh that link down here. So we'll use this as a synchronization point. Then we'll use it as something we're going to click on. Let's try that. No flyer. It's waiting 10 seconds. Click flyer. No flyer. Waiting 10 seconds. So it's found a match. And we're on page 3. So it's a little bit slower than I'd like. So we've probably got this synchronization stuff wrong here. So I need to investigate that a little bit. So even though it synchronizes badly, I do have a tool. So let's see if we can improve this synchronization. Let's see if we can work out what is going on. One of the reasons for doing these videos, by the way, is so that you see the process that we go through when we hit stumbling blocks, when we hit issues. So at the moment I'm debugging this test live as we go through, and you're seeing the the steps we take, and you're hearing me talk through the thought processes. They may or may not be the right thought processes. Maybe you're sitting there at home going, why is he doing this? This is so obvious. But this is part of the joy of watching someone else. So this is like pairing, but you can't see anything. Pairing with a ghost partner. So let's debug this, see what happens. Right, so we're going to get the results. This is going to wait. Going to click the next link. So really this is probably where I want a synchronization point. So it didn't fit in, so we're going to do a click. We'll see the flyer, and I want to see whether we come through here before the flyer goes away. Flyer. We click, we hit this, so we find this. Right, so let's get rid of that one. Maybe something's quite slow, maybe we just don't get there fast enough. So I'm about to click, get the flyer, we'll do the work, and we're at the point where I should get a result where it doesn't match. Right, let's do that. Let's look for a result where it doesn't match. Then we'll actually see it cycle round and see if it actually does that. So I'm not a Prolog programmer, so I don't expect this to match. So it's doing the waits, waiting for the flyer. We click next. There's the flyer. And we're still processing this. Alright, so the flyer is going away very fast. That's the problem here. So this isn't really... So the flyer goes away at the point that we start checking to see whether it's there. So what we probably want to do is reduce the time of this wait. Then if it does appear, we're okay. But when it doesn't appear, then we'll keep going. Element is not attached to page. Okay, so that's a different one. So we've got stale element again. Oh, element. Okay, so it's happening fast. We're trying to get this before... So maybe we're trying to read it before the flyer goes away. So what we should probably do is not even attempt to read this until the div has gone. So I'll wait for the bottom to be there. Then I'll wait for the flyer to go. Then I'll look at the results. Let me try that and see if that's any better. It's going to wait 10 seconds for the, whoops, wrong one. So there's the next. So we click on the next, then we go around, we wait for the flyer to go away. Ah, that's better. Look at that. Click on next, wait for the flyer to go away, then get the results. Click on that, wait for the flyer to go away, then get the results. So that is synchronizing in the right place now. So if I keep this going, let's see how many results we get back. 5, 6, 7, 8. I think you only get about 30 results back, or 30 pages with Google. But that's synchronizing nicely now. Page 25, so this should be saying, couldn't find the next link. There we go, no such element. So I'm comfortable with that. I've got a tool now that seems to synchronize quite well. It tells me what page I appear on. So I know I'm on the 3rd page for this Selenium training thing. So I should really try and boost my SEO now. So what we've done. We have a test now, and this is ugly now. So this really does need to be refactored now in order to be have the page objects to be more maintainable and to make my readable. So what we do, we start up Google, we set up our search terms. Now if I'm going to use this as a tool, every time I come in I have to change this. That's fine for this level, and you can experiment with this on GitHub if you want. You'll change the URL, you'll change the search term. I'm setting up the WebDriver wait to 10 seconds, you can adjust this wherever you want. We've got the details we set up before, so basically we do the search term, we click the search button, then we loop around all the search results, but before we do anything with the search results, we wait until the bottom of the page is rendered. Then we wait for the flyer to go away. Presumably that flyer div is put up while the page is refreshing, to stop you clicking on it, to stop you getting the stale elements. Then we loop around the results, print them out, and check whether we found a match, then report on the match. Now the exceptions that we got were stale element exception, which basically means I found the element on the page here, but by the time I came to use the element it had changed. So I was going too fast. It was on the page twice, but the page was refreshing, so we know that. And the other one was when we were trying to access it, it changed in the middle of us accessing it. So we needed to put the wait. We were trying to use it here before it was ready, so we put the wait in here. So that's how we convert our test that had no purpose, automating the GUI, into a very, very simple PageRank tool. So subscribe to the channel, and if you have any comments on this, do leave them. That'd be interesting. If there's any applications you want us to test, leave a comment so we know what they are. But make sure you subscribe so you find out when we release any more videos like this about let's automate System X. Who knows what System X will be next? Subscribe.